Shelley, why are you a men's dating coach?
Why am I not? Well, that's a very good question because it started with me actually exploring my options onto because I started becoming a life coach first. And then I started niching down into like relationships and dating, and I noticed a lot of men were approaching me in terms of dating advice. And so I was like, huh, okay. So I noticed I work better with men. So I started specializing with men. And then this is what I'm noticing too, especially in social media, that a lot of other dating coaches, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of men dating coaches are kind of teaching a lot of misleading advice
Mm,
about women. And so I was like, what? I think it's better if a woman teach something about dating to men. Like be an advocate for the women.
yeah.
Right? Because my friends were like questioning me, like, why did you take the enemy side? I'm like, no, see, it's so that they could better understand us, right? I'm gonna be the
Mm.
volunteer. I'm gonna be one of the volunteers. And so my life motto or mantra became like, I want to help make the world a better place, one good boyfriend at a time.
I love
So
that.
yeah.
So, what about people that say, what's that quote? Don't teach a
Oh
fish how
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, don't teach a women can't teach or a fish cannot teach a fisherman how to fish or something like that.
Yeah. What
I've been
about all
hearing that
those
a lot.
type of stereotype of people that say all that shit?
I mean, they could say it, but then I mean, the majority of the people who are saying that are single. So I'm like, I can't say anything. And the thing is, if you also learn like the thought process of the fish, that's how you learn where to position yourself in order to get more fishes, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you aware that one in three men between the ages of 18 and 30 hasn't had sex in the last year? Have you
A
heard about that?
100%. Even not only statistics, but also in people that I personally know
Yeah.
haven't had sex, and some of them are already in their 40s.
Yeah. Do you
Mhm.
think it's like a crisis of confidence culture, or is it a competence thing? Just men haven't had the amount of reps and, you know, being able to go up and court a women properly? Like, what do you think it
Yeah.
is?
I think it's a mixture of like how our dating culture is, social media, and COVID had played a big part of how we're socializing too right now. It kind of put like a standstill on how the world used to work and how socializing was. After that, it felt like people are like little baby deers who are trying to figure out how to navigate the social world again. Because dating is a lot of like it takes a lot of social skills. It's
Mm.
mainly social skills, right? And if you don't feel confident about yourself and how you interact with other people, then dating is going to be hard for you too.
Mm, yeah. And a lot of information out there can be a little bit conflicting as well, Shelley.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
have a portion of men online saying that all women are gold diggers, and then you
Yeah.
have yeah, it's horrible,
Yeah.
it's terrible. You know, where do we get
Yeah.
to this point where men and women are combative towards one another? Uh,
No.
and then women too,
Yeah.
they're saying all men are
Yeah.
bad and all men are
They all want
sleazers and they
sex.
cheat and yeah,
Yeah.
it's just banter. It's arguing back and forward, and we're supposed to compliment one another, not be combative towards one another. What do you think about
Yes.
that?
No, 100%. This is why I started this too. Like, honestly, men and women want the same thing. They just want to find somebody who can spend their life with and somebody who can make them feel seen and, and understood and be loved, right? Basically, that's a very human thing. The problem is, men and women approach dating in a very different aspect because men are visual people and women are very emotional, right? And so this is where the conflict happens is like, oh, and the reason why I feel like men are saying that all women are gold diggers, probably majority of the women that they have been encountering is either they got scammed or probably because a lot of women are always looking for somebody who could provide for them, which
Mm,
is because women want safety from a person. from the guy that they're dating. Doesn't mean that they have to be financially stable, it's just they want to feel safe, right? But for women, they're very emotional and they connect with people emotionally, right? And what they're noticing is a lot of people that they have dated too, and I see this with my friends, are probably after like situationships or one night stands, and so they feel like they have been taken advantage of. And I feel like this is where we, and social media plays a lot in this too. Like the people, this is the problem. The people who have the loudest voice are not the representation of everyone. The
Mm,
people who always get their point across is not the representation of everyone. Like people are saying all men are like this or all women are like this, but not everyone is like that. So it
mm,
kind of makes it seem like in social media that becomes a reality, right? The content that we get exposed to it becomes a reality. And now we become like very guarded and like I should be careful when it comes to dating because I don't know if this person will take advantage of me or use me for my money or just have sex with me or something like that. And this is where the conflict also gets worse. So
mm,
a lot of this
yeah.
is just like it's good that we have social media because we get information so easy, but at the same time, is this the information that is really true? Real? You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Shelley. I think social media is amazing. I mean, this is how you and I connected,
Yeah.
but there is a deleterious side to it as well. I think if you log on to Netflix and you try and scroll what you want to watch, you're like, what the fuck do I want to watch? There's so much choice. And it's a little bit like the
Mm-hmm.
dating landscape, isn't it? Because we're bombarded with so much choice. And I think people just have this uh, paradox of choice problem. Do you think that's a little bit of a problem as well?
Yeah. Dating apps also have that problem. And the
Mm,
problem also is because this is another problem is because everything is so accessible too that it kind of makes us lazy.
yeah.
Like we don't want to make an effort anymore. And a lot of the times, a lot of people say, I want to meet somebody organically. But at the same time, in order to meet somebody organically, it requires a lot of patience. And people want something
Mm,
in an instant right now. It's just we're so spoiled at this day and age.
yeah.
And so that also changes our how we date and the dating culture around it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think too, as well, Shelley, if we look at the Me Too movement, right? That was
Mm-hmm.
an important movement. It needed to happen because there had to be repercussions for toxic male behavior. But what it's also done as well is completely eradicated the way men interact in the dating landscape and being able to
Mm,
court a woman. I read a stat that 50% of men are afraid of approaching a woman because they're worried about being seen as creepy.
creepy.
Women
Mm-hmm.
also want men to approach, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they're a little bit scared for their own safety because they don't want to be another statistic of a sexual assault charge or something like that. And, yeah, it's become like a bit of a worry for both sexes.
Mm-hmm.
But with the clients that you work with, the guys that you work with, if a guy wants to meet a woman or like out in the whole dating world, what are some of the things that he needs to do? Like, does he need to join a run club? Does he need to join yoga? Like, what are some of the things that you do with your clients?
Well, this is why it's so important to get to know themselves first in a deeper light, right? Because like you're just gonna aimlessly go through to this like places without like getting to know what you really like. It's so
Mm,
important to know who you are as a person and what you like so that you can also start living life authentically and that's how you're gonna meet people there. Yeah, so basically again, finding what you're interested in is number one. That's very important because how you live your life is that it dictates what demographic of people you're going to meet. So if you feel like the people that you're meeting right now is not the type of people that you want to be with, then there's something wrong in how you're living your life, right? And this is where the change happened. This is where you have to check in with yourself, like where do I want to go and where do I want to be? You could go to a run club if running is your thing. You could go to meetings if meeting is your thing. If you're a small business owner, if networking is a thing for you, you can go there and meet people. But there you go. I remember my train of thought. what the first thing that you have to let go of is the expectation that you're gonna meet somebody immediately in that space.
Mm,
You know what? Why? Because when you have that expectation, you put pressure on yourself. And what happens is when you put pressure on yourself, it's gonna go either in two ways. You're gonna
mm,
overthink to the point that you're not gonna move anymore and you're just gonna worry what other people will think, or you're gonna push the conversation to go in a certain direction and you might come off as too aggressive, and that's where women feel unsafe, right?
mm.
That's where they'll sense like, oh, what is going on? Why do I feel this creepy vibe? Like, I don't feel comfortable. So that,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
wherever you go,
sometimes
oh, go ahead.
no, no, you go. Yeah.
Oh, it's just wherever you go, you have to release the expectation.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And some women too, Shelley, aren't really too receptive. Like,
Yeah.
and I've used this before. I've talked about this on a few podcasts. Like back in the olden days, women, if they wanted to invite a man to come and have a conversation with them, what they used to do is they used to drop a handkerchief.
Handkerchief, the handkerchief, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
handkerchief thing, and that was
Yeah.
like a go-to,
Mm-hmm.
for a man to come up and approach, but sometimes too, like, you kind of have to dumb it down a little bit for guys, like, kinda treat it like golden retriever
Yeah.
vibes, because
Yeah.
guys are scared shitless, they really are, they're like,
They
"Fuck,
are.
I don't know, should I go up, should I not, and then what if I say the wrong thing?" And, yeah, and I mean, what do you think is an uncomfortable truth about modern dating today?
Well, first of all, like that is very true. Like it's just you can never win sometimes because like some a lot of women want to be approached, but then they think that guys who do approach are creepy, and then a lot of men want to get to know women more, but at the same time they're also scared of stepping outside of their house and meeting other people, right? And so you know what? Honestly, my best advice is like fuck around and find out. No matter what you do, no matter what you do, there's always gonna be a repercussion. But then at the same
Mm,
time, think about it as like, unless I do something, I'm not gonna learn. It's like you either have the regret of like doing something and then learning from it, or regret not doing something, it's gonna stay stuck with you forever. And this is
mm,
how people get stuck in their dating life.
yes.
Like, honestly, if you feel like you're stuck, just move. Just either physically move or do something different. That's where things will happen differently for you.
And what have you found to be the most successful or lasting relationships? So, the relationships that do last, do you think you'd have more of a chance approaching it in the real world as opposed to on a dating app?
It's you know what, honestly, it's the same.
Hmm.
Honestly, both like either real world or dating app, as long as you guys know how to communicate and know like grow and learn from each other, it's gonna be the same.
Mm. And a lot of guys too, they are nervous. They're kind of anxious. Sometimes they fumble their words a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a skill, like being able to communicate and talk effectively and articulate your words is a skill that requires a lot of training and a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what sort of things do you work with your male clients on to be effective communicators in the dating scene?
It starts with curiosity.
Mm,
Curiosity and grounding. Like, the thing is, you cannot be curious if you're in your head a lot, right? So you have to start becoming present. So I don't know if you've heard of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique.
I
Yeah.
have, yeah, but
Yeah.
can you run me through it?
Like five things. Okay. I might not say it in the right order, but five things you can see, four things you can, I don't know if it's hear or touch. Five things you can see, something. Four things you can. Oh my gosh, I forgot all the.
I think it's based on
Yeah,
your 5 senses, isn't it? Touch, taste,
exactly.
smell, hear, see,
Exactly.
something
Exactly.
like that, yeah.
But basically using your senses to become more
Mm,
present in the situation, because the more things that you observe, the more that you can open a conversation. And that's where curiosity starts, right?
mm,
Um and also the more questions you ask about the other person and the more comfortable they are opening up to you, the more that they're gonna feel safer with you.
Yeah.
So it's more so about not appearing as more being interesting in the person, but becoming more interested in the person.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what are some of the problems that these guys have, that come to you? Like, what are they complaining about? What are the biggest things that they're seeing nowadays?
A lot of it is ghosting, mixed signals, getting friend zoned, and also the dilemmas like again, the approach. It's hard for them to
Mm,
approach people. It's because they're also scared of like what if they record me on like their phone and post it on TikTok that I'm being a creep, or like what if they report me to their friends or something like that. Like they're scared of the what will happen if they do it.
mm. Yeah, yeah. And it's hard, isn't it? Like, nowadays, because there's many avenues you can go down, you can, meet a woman on a dating app, you can try and meet through friends of a friends, but even
Mm-hmm.
like work nowadays is frowned upon to ask somebody out. But see, the thing is, Shelley, that's how my parents met. They met
Yeah,
at
yeah.
work. I wouldn't be here right now having this conversation if it wasn't for my parents who met at work.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about the story about how Bill Gates met his former wife?
Wife. Mm-hmm. Through
Yeah, did
work.
you hear about that
Yeah.
story?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
today, if you heard about a story like that, that would be blasted all over the internet. Former tech billionaire asks a woman out at work. It would be publicized everywhere. And then that's hard too. Like, you can't even ask somebody out at work anymore. It's just so frowned upon. Um, what about work? What do you think? Is that safe to ask somebody out at work or not?
It really depends. Like, would it affect your performance, especially if things don't work
Mm,
out right? The
yeah,
last
that's
thing that you
true.
want is to have an awkward conversation with somebody that you used to talk to, especially if it's going to affect the quality of your work. But let's say you're in a different department.
Mm.
That's fine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The
So
thing
do you
is
think
like, oh,
No, no, you
uh,
go.
yeah, the thing is like a lot of people say so many things.
Yeah.
And honestly, like whatever feels true for you and comfortable for you, just follow it.
Mm,
People will always say something. People will always judge you for doing something, but if it's something that you feel like, oh, this is what I really want, go for it.
mm. And would you say that men are rejected more, or they just never were taught how to properly attract a woman?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
So, like, rejection is obviously a lot of the worry that men have.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it stems down to, as we were talking about, repetition, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
court a woman is a skill. It does require a lot of training.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some women too, they don't really understand the groundwork that's
Yeah.
required to be attractive in the first place. Like, if you think about, like, let's just look at a hypothetical situation. A guy in a nice suit, he's probably built, beard, I don't know, just handsome guy. You see him, he approaches you, you start talking, but women only see the end product. They only see him standing in front of them. But if you think about the groundwork and all the years it's taken him to get to that point,
Yeah.
where he's probably had to work on his physicality, he's probably had to work on his finances, he's probably had to learn how to talk and articulate his words. Maybe he's had a fair bit of rejection in the past. Like, there's a lot of groundwork. And also too, you have to slowly escalate things. Like, if you think about planning a date, setting up the date, and if things are going really well, you kind of have to slowly court the woman to
Mm-hmm.
making her feel comfortable. And that's also quite difficult as well. That's another thing too. Like, how
Yeah.
do you, if a woman is interested in you and you've been out on one or two dates, how do you slowly escalate things to the point where you go in for the first kiss and then so forth? Like that requires a lot of thinking and training too.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to really becoming present because you won't notice the cues that the woman is sending if you're not there. So
Yeah.
majority of the times that people miss the signs is because they're so concerned about what the other person is feeling,
Mm.
that they're missing out on what the other person is already trying to convey to you, right? And in terms of like escalating or knowing when, there's this thing when it comes to building attraction. One of the things that men are missing when it comes to attracting somebody is the art of touch, right?
Mm.
Um, there's different levels of touch. Of course, you start first with friendly touching and see if she's receptive with that. And if she is, then you could go to the plausible deniability touching, where it's like it's like beyond friendly touching, but it's like more than that. Like you're not sure what he's up to, right? Like let's say her hair is like in front of her face, and then the guy just sweeps it back because it's disrupting while she's eating or something like that, and that's gonna leave like that mark in her head, like why did he do that? And if she's
Yeah.
receptive to that, um and she's not like, you don't see her body moving back and she's leaning in more, then that's a sign where you can be more direct in your advances, and that's where you can also probably kiss her at the end of the day. So
Mm.
that's where it's a dance. A lot of it is like really noticing the cues, and you cannot notice the cues if you're not in a state of groundedness and being like really present with her. So that's really the skill that you have to develop. And you
Mm.
cannot be grounded and present if you don't even feel safe within yourself. And this is why a lot of the times when guys have like low self-esteem, that's the first thing that they have to work around, is because they have to trust themselves that they'll know. And if they don't, they might make a mistake, but at least they learn.
Yeah. I think the key that I'm taking away from this conversation, and a lot of people can take away from, is, especially for the guys listening, is, yeah, so being present, and because I think when you're on a date, you're nervous, you like the person, obviously,
Yeah.
and not being present, and you're kind of thinking about, shit, what do I say next? How's this conversation going? You overanalyze things, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So would you say men have it harder in dating, or do women have it harder in dating?
Oh, definitely men. You know how like
Mm.
one in dating apps, one women they always match with at least 10 guys.
Yeah.
And men, a lot of them even don't receive any messages or matches at all. It's really
Yeah.
hard. It's really a struggle for them. And it's like a lot of expectations are more heavier in the men's side rather than the women's side. I feel like in the women's side it's more so like the physical expectation, like, oh, you have to look like a certain way. But then in men, there's a lot of aspect of like providing and also looking a certain way and also appearing this way, appear confident, masculine, like
Mm.
that. Of course, it's like it's a huge pressure, and this is why a
Yeah.
lot of men also gets discouraged when it comes to dating.
Yeah. And a lot of men too, Shelley, are in a point now where they feel pressured to really excel and become the best version of themselves, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's this burden of performance on men that they can't really measure up to. And you remember that song on TikTok? I'm looking for a guy in finance,
Finance.
trust fund, six
Mm-hmm.
five, blue eyes.
Yeah.
Like, height is another thing. You can't change your height.
Yeah.
But you can obviously control that. You can only control the controllables. So you can obviously go to the gym. You can look after your physicality.
Yeah.
You can take classes and learn how to, better educate yourself. You can gain knowledge and wisdom through, prior experience. But men just have a tough time, I think, right now, because women are doing exceptionally well. They are just blowing the roof in
Mm-hmm.
work, in education. I think I read somewhere by 2030, there'll be two women for every one man completing a 4-year US college degree. So
Yeah.
they're outnumbering men both in employment and in education. The problem that you have right now is women and I guess this is backed up by David Buss's research in evolutionary psychology.
Mhm.
Women tend to be hypergamous. They tend to mate horizontally and up. So
Mhm.
generally, if a woman makes, say, $100,000 a year, she wants her partner to make about the
The
same or
same.
if not
Mhm.
more. The
Yeah.
problem that you have is as women climb up through their own hierarchy and competence, they further shorten down the pool of eligible men.
Exactly.
And there's
Yeah.
just not enough of these guys to go around. So what are men supposed to do if this is backed up by research and women are hypergamous and women are all chasing after the top percentile of men, how does men compete with that?
That is very true, and I agree with that. And I think this is a push for everyone to at least, because this is what I'm noticing too, which is this is a very good topic to bring on because like what happens now is a lot of men, and this is what I'm noticing, a lot of men are starting to become bitter and they complain. Well, the people who become successful and find somebody, a good partner, they're the ones who start leveling themselves up and excelling, right? And in terms of like honestly, like this is the thing too. When it comes to like a lot of the superficial things like the height, the income and everything like that. If for example, like let's say you start you start focusing more on the superficial things, and that's the type of people that you're also going to meet. A lot of people are concerned about the superficial things, but if you just focus on what makes you happy and what you like doing, then you're also going to start connecting with somebody that can meet you in a deeper level. That's not just focus on the height.
Mm,
That's just not focus on the income and not focus on things that you can check off a checklist, you know? It is harder, but this is a call for everyone, not only men but also women to look in within themselves and see what they can improve,
mm,
you know?
yeah,
That's I think that's how we are as humans. We have to always like that's the thing. We always have to grow. And the people who are getting stuck at the bottom and are not having success is the people who are having a hard time growing. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
I spoke with another female. She's not a dating coach. She's more of a matchmaker, but
Yeah.
she works in sort of corporate and people that are kind of high earners sort of help and find love that way. Because that's another difficult thing too,
Mhm.
is women have this problem where they get the degree, they have the great job, they work throughout their years and right, I'm excelling in my career and education, and where are all the men at? I don't know where they are, and this is the problem that some women have.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, she was also saying too, um, the problem with, I think, social media and dating apps is it's just a complete kerfuffle. Like, people just don't know where to go. They don't know where to look. They want to find deep and meaningful conversations. And I think social media has just completely ruined the whole dating landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
It
had a chat
does.
with Syed Chesbra. So
Mhm.
he's a very well known, famous fitness influencer. He knows two girls that slept with Chris Brown when he came to Australia. Like 20 years ago, that never would have happened. And I think social media's just completely ruined the whole dating landscape. Do you think social media also has played a huge role in this? You
Uh-huh.
did mention that
Yeah,
earlier.
100% because it's kind
Mm,
of ruining our perception and everything. Like, you know how like everything in social media appears to be so perfect and then everyone wishes to
mm,
have that too. And so now they're setting such unrealistic standards.
mm.
And what happens is it robs us of being open in people, like people who are better for us. A lot of people are complaining that all the men are like this or all the women are like this, but because this is the people that they're choosing to let in their life.
Yeah,
Right? It's not all the men are like that or all the women are like that. It's just that all the men and women that you're choosing to let in your life becomes that because social media also plays with that expectation and your perception. And so again, this is something that we really have to reflect on within ourselves. And we can't keep blaming men, women, other people because that is what's stopping us from taking accountability to ourselves and what we need to
Mm.
change in order to better our dating life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really starts
She
within us.
100%. 100%. Yeah, she also mentioned too, she thinks that women have lost their way. She thinks women tend to fixate more on the materialistic side of things and
Yeah.
focus on extrinsic value, on
Yeah.
what this person has as opposed to
Mhm.
intrinsic value. You know, is this man a nice person? Is he kind? Is he generous? Is he going to be a good father? Is he good with kids? Does he like, does he have a good nature about him? How does he treat his mum? How does he treat the waiter at a restaurant? Whereas women, I think she thinks that women have lost their way and tend to measure a man's character on the ability of his finances and what he
Yeah.
has. And you've heard too, like men are scared shitless even going on dates with women because they're worried they're going to be another foodie call. They're just going to use them for free dinners.
Food, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Like
It's a
how do
huge
you
thing too.
navigate that? Like how do you fan out the people that are interested in you as opposed to just what you have financially? Like
You
how are you supposed to navigate your way through that?
I think you'll know depending on what type of questions they start asking you. The first thing that they open up in a conversation is their priority when it comes to dating.
Mm.
And then this is up to you whether you still want to get to know this person or not, because probably in the first date it won't be as evident, but probably in the second date that's when you'll know and you'll have the feeling. And this is where you really have to trust your gut and see if are they really connecting with me from a deeper level, or are they just wanting to see if I'm capable of providing for them,
Mm.
right? It's a
Yeah.
lot of it's all, and this is why a lot of the times too, when I coach my clients, I really help them in getting in touch with their emotional side and getting to know themselves more, because this is where you train yourself to really trust your gut instincts when you do meet these kinds of people, right? The people who are just after checking the list from the boxes, or are they here to connect with you emotionally? Because
Mm.
the thing is, the women that you probably see who also want to check the boxes might not be also emotionally mature,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
if you're really serious about finding a deeper connection, then you want somebody who's also emotionally mature. But at the same time, if you're also not emotionally mature, how would you know that? And how would you connect with people like that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and women sort of say, "I want a man that's emotionally intelligent." And to me, when I think of emotional intelligence, I guess it comes to somebody that has control of their emotions. They're able to regulate their emotions. How quickly can they get back to baseline? Can they
Mm-hmm.
also empathize and understand where the other person's coming from? Um, and the biggest thing too, as well, Shelley, and a lot of guys have this problem is if their wife or girlfriend comes to them with a problem, men just want to fix it, and that's our love.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
our love language. Whereas
Yeah.
women just want to be seen and
Heard.
heard, and
Yep.
this is a
Mm.
this is a problem too. Like because yeah, as men, we just want to fix the problem. We do it because we love you and we
Mhm.
want to fix you. We don't like to see you unhappy. And women are thinking, "Oh, he's just wanting to fix my problem. He's not even listening to me."
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is the double-edged sword
The
too. So what about
mismatch.
yeah, what about that? So and I'm sure you've had clients that have now found their partner, and then they're starting to run in the relationship side of things. What do you think
Hmm.
some of the mistakes that men are making as far as like being able to be present and listen? Because yeah, as I said, men just want to fix things. Like what are other some of the mistakes that they're making in the relationship?
A lot of assuming too. What you brought up is a lot of like men want to fix things.
Mm.
Us, because I know men are very logical, right?
Mhm.
When for them, problem equals solutions. Problem should be fixed. But then women are more like in the emotional side of like, I want you to listen to me and I just want you to provide a safe space for me. So that's why women operate in a more like, I just want you to make me feel safe, right?
Mm.
And for them, if there's a problem, if they cannot fix that, they feel like they failed their partner. So that's why they're always looking for a solution. And that's why they also assume so that they can get ahead of the problem so that it doesn't present itself when the woman does come to them. But the problem is the woman also feels more misunderstood in
Mm.
that case. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I do agree with that. Like a lot of the times men do want to come in and fix the problem, but then this is where you train your emotional intelligence too. How well can you empathize with the person, and how well can you hold yourself back and accommodate that space for that person, not only for the other person but also for yourself, and also check in if you're seeing what's happening within yourself too as they're trying to express this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of women as well, Shelley, worry about helping a man on his grind. And to the point where maybe the man does become successful, there's that potential for him to really accelerate and just rocket launch into another dimension. And women tend to worry about, okay, well, if I help a man on his grind and he gets to that stage, he's going to leave me, he's going to cheat on me.
Yeah. Mhm.
Guys, majority of men that I speak with, and this is what a lot of men want. They want a woman that's going to be with him like a ride or die. They want a
Yeah.
woman that's going to be with him through the ups and the downs. And going back to that point that I was making earlier, how we only see the end result of a successful man, but you don't actually see the grind. You don't see the
Process.
hard
Mhm.
work and the arduous hours it's taken him to get to that point. Men want a woman that is going to be with him from the start of the race all the way to the finish of the race. But women are scared too. They're worried that if they help a man on his grind, that he's going to cheat on them or leave them. But I speak to a lot of men, and that's what men want most. They want a woman that's going to help them and add value to their life
Oh yeah.
because the byproduct is she's going to benefit as well.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
no way in hell, and me personally, no way in hell would I ever abandon a woman that's helped me on my grind and got me to a point in life that's just accelerated me into another level, you know? What
Right.
do you think women can learn about, I guess, helping a man, but also, squashing that fear that they have about them abandoning them?
It's a lot of communication and reassurance for both parties, I think.
Mm,
Because honestly, like, at some point in a relationship, it's not always gonna be 50-50. Somebody will have to work more because the other is really in a tight spot and you have to support them, and vice versa, right? It's a lot of, and this is where you start to grow as a couple as well, because if you can get past through this and know how to support each other and know what the other person needs during this time, then it's going to be good when everything else works out, right? As
mm,
opposed to like you don't know how to handle the situation and you guys are always getting into fights and it feels like every time you have a conflict it's not going into a positive resolution. This is this is where both of you guys are getting tested if you are really for each other. Life will always throw a lot of curveballs at you, but it's a test to see if you're gonna grow or you're gonna split. If you guys are
mm.
really compatible towards each other. And I feel like if a woman is getting threatened by that, then that's not the woman for them. They're not
Yeah.
able to handle a man who is deep in their masculine that's willing to thrive and succeed. That they need to
Yep.
work on themselves too, because you want somebody who is gonna help you and support you as well.
Mm.
There's
Yeah.
something that they have to work on.
Yeah. Another thing as well, and I talk about this all the time because I
Mhm.
think it is a bit of a problem that men have too, is women will say, I want you to be open and honest and I want you to be vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
Telling your feelings to a woman is like bleeding next to a shark. This is some of the comments that I read on YouTube. Men are scared shitless about opening up to a woman because they're afraid of what she might think, and even to the point where he might even shed a tear. Now, I'm not saying he's crying because you turned his PlayStation off. I'm think like if it's something serious, there's been a death in the family or his dog dies and he sheds a tear. A lot of men do worry about it being weaponized and used against them in a future argument. And this is another reason why the suicide rate is
Mm.
so damn high in men,
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
because who do they want to open to most in a time of a crisis is their romantic partner. What have you come to learn about emotional safety and how that correlates to being able to have a safe space for a man to open up to his partner.
Emotional safety, I 100% agree with you, is very important. And then sometimes in terms of opening up, here's the thing. Like sometimes it's not what you say, and it's how you say it. It's how you open up the emotions too, right?
Mm,
If you're opening it up in a sense that's it's coming from a place of like also attacking them, then of course they're gonna get defensive, right? But if you're opening up coming from a place of like, I feel really sad, I feel really helpless, probably they'll be more receptive to it. But at the same time, it also depends on the woman that's receiving it, right?
mm,
If they're the type of woman who also are not comfortable with emotions and they're also holding back their emotions, then they're not going to be comfortable opening up or you
mm.
opening up. And so this is where having a good emotional intelligence and dating somebody who is also emotionally mature or at least aware with their emotions and how they can help you with it is
Mm,
really important because I honestly think, and this is what's happening too right now with our society, but I notice it is getting better, is like whenever men do open up about their emotions, they get called out by it so harshly. Like it's like,
yeah.
oh, you shouldn't be sad. You should know how to handle your emotions better because you're a guy. Which is we should remove that stigma now because it's not helping men. The more they push things down, the more that it gets heavier for them.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so really just allowing even our close guy friends or our fellow friends, guy friends, allowing them to express what they really feel and if they're feeling vulnerable about it, just giving them a safe space is so important.
Mm.
They're human too, you know? Everyone
Yeah.
needs that.
100%. Like men are humans, women are humans. We're people. We have feelings. We
Yeah.
hurt. We have emotion.
Hmm.
There was a famous story, Shelley. I don't know if you ever read the book. The book was called Self-Made Man. It was about a radical feminist lesbian named Nora Vincent. And
Ooh.
she documented her experience. She spent 18 months disguised as a man. What she came to learn of, not only because of identity and being able to sort of work back and forward from masculine and feminine, it had a very psychological effect on her head. But she couldn't believe how much she was treated differently as a
Yeah.
man as opposed to a woman. She ended up having to check herself into a psych ward because she just couldn't take it anymore. And I think a lot of women don't understand the burdens that a lot of men they're carrying too. And what do you think women can sort of understand and learn about men, and how can they better support men through what they do actually go through?
That men are put under a lot of pressure every day
Mm,
and that they have feelings and emotions too and they're allowed to be sad, be happy, be glad. And you know, the thing that I hate is like when women complain, it's normal, right? But then when men complain, it's categorized as they're being like whiny babies or something like that. And it's unfair. Like it's just seeing them as like an equal to. Like whatever we go through or whatever we feel, they also feel the same thing. And supporting them emotionally and allowing them to express themselves emotionally is very important if we want to nurture um their emotional intelligence or have it grow or have them express better. Because what happens then is they become spiteful and this is how they become bitter.
mm,
Because this is the only way they know how to express when it doesn't have to be that way.
yeah. So, how can a man show vulnerability, even cry in front of his partner without fear or judgment of it being used against him in the future?
I think the only way that you can do it is just do it. And this is where you're gonna also determine the pure partner, who they are, right? Because the thing is, you just have to become aware of your feelings, and this is where you really have to check in with yourself. Like I'm feeling this way, and I'm gonna express it to somebody and open it up because I can't carry it by myself. And if your partner uses it against you, then they're not your significant other. If there is a fear of like um fear of opening up just because you're scared that your partner might use it against you, this is where you have to really check in and reflect within yourself. Where is this coming from? What experiences has had made me tell this story to myself? And what story can I tell differently? Because you cannot control how your partner reacts, right? But what you can control is how you're gonna, what you do and how you're gonna open this up.
Mm,
So
yeah.
starting from that, just learning how to be emotional with yourself too. And being aware of what emotions you're feeling is a good start to be comfortable opening it up to somebody else. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you feel a lot of emotions and you're not sure what you feel and you're just acting it out, right? Because you're not aware of what emotion that is. You're not sure what it is. But if you get familiar with what type of emotions you have, I think it was Yale University who had like a mood meter chart that you can look up and then say, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. And then you're gonna select which emotion you're feeling is a good way to say, oh, what I'm feeling right now is anger, or what I'm feeling right now is contempt or bitterness.
Mm,
Like really naming the emotion is a good start. And so when you open
yeah.
it up to somebody, you're not just gonna like, Rawr, I don't know what I'm feeling, right? You're gonna say it like, I'm feeling pissed right now. I'm feeling unhappy. I feel sad. I feel glad. Like
Mm,
knowing and naming the emotion is a good start to communicate it, or a good
yeah.
start so that you can communicate it.
Yeah. There's a movement, and a lot of guys are fleeing Western countries and they're going to places like Brazil, Colombia, the Philippines,
Is it
Thailand
passport
to
bros?
seek, yeah, the passport bros. Yeah, they're going to these places to find women that are more traditional, more feminine, very much mother oriented, family oriented. What do you think of the passport bro movement and what it's doing to society? But I think it's catching on a little bit. I think people are sort of starting to wake up to in those places, you know. What do you think of the whole thing of the passport bro movement?
Uh, I think they really have to be careful
Mm,
because honestly, like especially like if you're gonna fly all the way to a different country with the intention of meeting a woman, some of these women already know that. They're gonna take advantage of it. They might
yeah.
use you for like a 90-day fiance or just you asking for money. I have a lot of clients who got scammed because they were passport bros. This is why I know about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were passport bros before and they came to me saying that this has been happening to me. This has been a recurring and repeating pattern, right? Because the thing is, here's the thing. If you're so quick on like let's say giving a woman money, it's like you're trying to buy their love.
Mm,
And if you're trying to buy their love, again, this is the us wanting something in an instant. You're not giving yourself the chance to let things unfold organically, which requires a lot of patience and timing. And so this is another thing, checking in with yourself. What is it that I need from myself right now in order for me to not fall into the same pattern again?
yeah. Yeah. A lot of the problems that we're seeing in the world today, mental health,
Yep.
we're seeing everything from immigration to a declining birth rate. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at all the problems that are happening in the world today, and I've heard people talk about this, I think where you need to start is get men and women back together. I think what's happening right now is we're drifting further and further away from
Mm-hmm.
each other. We need to take it back to basics. What do you think? Do you think it starts with men and women? All the problems that are happening right now, do you think that it starts with men and women coming together f- as a team and creating a family? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it starts within themselves.
Hmm.
Starts first with you because like you won't learn how to understand other people if you don't understand yourself. The problem is we cannot understand ourselves because we're given so many ways right now, especially social media, to escape from ourselves. Whenever
Mm,
we're dealt with like a problem at hand, oh, I could doom scroll. Oh, I could forget about this by doing another thing, or like there's a lot of distractions right now, which in turn it doesn't help us get in touch with ourselves, which also in turn is having us it's making it difficult for us to also get in touch and understand other people. If we don't learn how to sympathize with either men or women, then yeah, this is gonna be continuously gonna be a problem. Like a lot of the times, like it's it's so hard that we're so overstimulated right now, right?
Mm,
It really
yeah.
requires us to pause and take a step back and really reflect within ourselves, like what is going on within us that we need to figure out, and then how can we extend that empathy to other people, women, men, any kind of person, so that we could further understand each other and have a better relationship with each other.
Mm, yeah. The birth rate's declining. Most countries are below replacement.
Mhm.
We are in a position where we're not producing enough kids. I'm hearing more and more schools shutting down in Japan. I think
Yeah. Mhm.
a couple of years ago, Japan went down by 600,000. I think they're saying by 2050, I think it was, China's population of over a billion will be about half of that. So
Mhm.
what you have now, Shelley, is you have an ever aging population because yes, we are living longer, but if you think about this right, if we don't produce enough kids, how are we going to uphold society? How are we going to help people in aged care homes? And it's kind of interesting where in Japan, I think I read somewhere that adult diapers are overselling baby diapers. Did
Yeah.
you hear about
Mhm.
that?
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
heard too also in Japan they said that they're also welcoming foreigners to their land
Hmm.
just for the potential of increasing the birth rate too or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah.
that.
And I think too, one of the biggest things that I think a lot of women would get satisfaction from is a family, raising kids. It's one of the greatest things, and I think it's one of the greatest things a man can do for a woman is turn her into a mother. Um, and it's kind of sad too. I think that a lot of women too, they do waste their childbearing years on a
Mhm.
corporation or a company that doesn't really care about you, when in fact your family would be there to support you. And I'm not saying all companies, but there, it's really sad too because I watched the documentary. It's called Birth Gap. I don't know if you saw this documentary, Shelley.
Mhm.
Above 80% of women, after their fertility window had closed, did not intend to not be mothers. So, in other words, involuntary childlessness happened.
Yeah,
And these
yeah.
women, Shelley, have support groups around the world where they come together to grieve for the families that they never had. The fact that you can go and grieve about something that doesn't exist. And fuck, my heart breaks for these women that
Yeah.
thought they had time, and yeah, it's just so damn sad. So, what do you think women need to be more aware of if they do want to have a family? Because unfortunately, biology does have a place. Women
Mhm.
do have a short amount of space to have children. What would your advice be to women that do want to pursue a career, but then also want to have a family as well? That's the hard thing. How do they juggle that?
I think first of all they have to stop checking their checklist and start becoming more open with the people that they meet and the people that they want to be with. It's
Mm,
stop having an unrealistic standard. I'm not saying to settle, but then at the same time, get clear on your negotiables and non-negotiables, right? And what the difference between a peeve and a non-negotiable is. A non-negotiable is something that you feel like if you had this is a deal breaker from the relationship. Like
mm.
let's say they're dishonest, they manipulate you. Okay, that's a non-negotiable. But a height, this sort of income, that's a peeve. Or like they don't wash the dishes, peeve, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it's time for us to become more open and become more realistic with the people that we meet. Because especially for the people who do want to have family, it's so unfortunate for us women that we have a ticking time bomb in our body in
Mhm.
terms of like the fertility time. And so be more open, set aside time to really go out and meet people, right? And also if life is really like not easy for you, and it's not really, it's giving you a hard time to do that, then there are options as like, freezing your eggs. And
Mm,
you know what? I wish they would make it more accessible to everyone, because like if if the birth rate is already declining, make it accessible to everyone. Do not make it expensive, because I know some freezing your eggs is very expensive.
it
So at
is, yeah,
least to
super
give
expensive.
yeah, at
Mm,
least to give the opportunity to the people who do want to have children, at least time for them to have children, you know?
yeah. What about marriage? Marriage formation is just non-existent anymore. People aren't getting married anymore. And that's, I think, I'm not too sure about in Australia, but I know in America, men are opting out of marriage. I think I've heard a lot of, marriage consultations. They're shutting down. People just aren't getting married. That's
Yeah,
pretty much it. People aren't getting married.
yeah,
Men are worried, scared shitless that they're worried they're going to be taken in court for alimony and um,
yeah.
what do you think that we can do to try and get men and women back together and have marriage? Because I think marriage is super important for raising kids. You know, having two
And the
parents in the
commitment.
home
Mhm.
is really, really important. But what do you think we can do as a society to try and get marriage back on track?
That is very interesting, because like I notice here in America at least, and this is the difference that I'm noticing between America and Philippines. In Philippines, we don't have divorce. It's very hard to
Mm,
get a divorce. It's only annulment and marriage, because marriage for us is very sacred. Like usually what happens is like if you marry somebody, that's gonna be your person forever, right? Here in America, I've met more people who got divorced than actually stayed in a marriage. And I feel like it's because and I think this is the reason why a lot of people are not wanting to get married here, is because divorce is expensive. And a
mhm,
lot of the times I think the fear here is like um they don't want to get into divorce, right? What's the point in marriage if we're just going to get divorced? And if you're telling yourself that story, then already that's gonna stop yourself from getting married. And so, you know what? Honestly, I'm not really sure like how we can get marriage back on board if this has been the culture that has been established.
mm,
But what we can do is basically find a person that we get to know more and we know that we want to settle with, and hope that you know they won't get divorced,
mm,
and have a happy family with them. Because really here it's been always like a lot of the times I meet a lot of people who are like coming from a divorced family. My mom and dad got divorced. This is what happened. And yeah, I think it's the culture here. It's really like it's just okay to get in a marriage and then get out of a marriage. Like it's easy to call
yeah,
it quits. Unless they make it more sacred, but that's a different thing. I don't think this is something that is their culture. And if you find somebody that you feel like, okay, like this is the person that I want to settle with, then great. Then get married and establish
yeah,
that family. But I guess the thing here is everyone has a choice, and you can't really stop them from making that choice.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think in 100 years, people will look back on why the birth rate declined, why men and women were drifting further and further apart. I think everything in life goes through a correction.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
yeah, what's the saying? Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men
Mhm.
create hard times. I think we're sort of going into hard times now. And then there'll be a cycle where everything kind of goes back into good times. Um, 'Cause I think too, one of the biggest things on the planet is when men and women get together, they have a happy family, they're a team, and that's when society thrives. Um, yeah, and it's sad too, it's sad. I think it's really sad to see men and women drifting further and further apart.
Yeah.
So if we look at how we can get women back together, what are some of the green flags? Let's start with the men. So, what are some of the green flags men can look for when they're trying to find a suitable partner?
Well, first of all, a green flag is definitely showing this goes for both sides. Showing up consistently. Like you know how like they express their interest, yes, that could happen during the first date, but if they're showing up consistently for you and you know that they got your back, that is a green flag.
Mm,
Consistency is very important. Second is like um they know how to express themselves at least. Express themselves or communicate if they're not feeling good about something or if they're unsure about what they even feel, at least they can openly communicate with you. And second is third is like kindness and empathy. They're very kind and they're empathetic with you because you know how like what they say, you can tell a person's personality by how they treat the waiter
the
or like
waiter, yeah,
yeah, in
yeah.
customer service, like really observe that and see how they treat the people, their strangers in their everyday life because that says a lot about like their whole personality as a person. And also a person who makes you feel safe.
Mm,
That's very important because again, if you want to be with somebody or get married with somebody, you don't want to get stuck with a partner who makes you doubt yourself and makes you question yourself and makes you not feel safe, both physically, mentally, spiritually, all of it, right?
yeah. And what about
Yeah.
women? What do you think women need to look for for green flags in men?
Um, Also safety, somebody who makes you feel safe, consistent. I think this goes both ways in men and women.
Yeah.
Safety and consistency is very important when they're showing up. Also, for men, a person who doesn't dismiss a woman's emotion. That's a
Mm,
super green flag because what I notice is because some men are very not comfortable with their emotions and then what they say is like, you're overthinking it. That's not
yeah.
big. Like that's not what you want. You want somebody who will really listen to you when you say, I feel scared. I'm not comfortable with this, right? Like really
Mm,
acknowledging your feelings and emotions and really being open about that.
yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
dating apps have been absolutely atrocious. They
Yeah.
haven't really helped much either. Um,
Yeah.
if you were to sort of give one piece of advice, what would be a better way to navigate their way through the dating landscape? So probably meet in person is better than meeting on a dating app. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. The goal of dating apps, you shouldn't stay there for too long. The goal is
Mm,
to for you guys to take it out. So don't linger. I see a lot of men, they linger in the dating apps for weeks. They've been talking there in weeks, and that's how you lose momentum. In
mm,
order for you to gain that traction, you have to get them out the conversation if there's good back and forth within 3 to 4 days. Max
yeah.
weeks. Max 1 week. That's it. You're gonna lose momentum if you prolong it.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of the times they feel comfortable in the dating app. You have to get it out. If you want to practice organic social skills, then you have to put it out. You have to put that into practice.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And what advice would you give to short kings? Because a lot of guys worry that they're too short. And if you look at dating apps, right,
They have the
women, I
height.
guess, do filter out a lot of guys that are under 6 feet. And I
Yeah.
think, and I was talking to Rollo Tomasi. I don't know if you know who Rollo Tomasi is. He was saying, I think it's only about 16% of the population are over 6 feet. I think average height for men is around 5'8", 5'9", or something
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
And I talked to Rollo about it. I said, the women's fixation on height is because it's due to evolution that height
Yeah.
equals protection, right?
Exactly. The
But
safety
see, I'm
part.
a
Mhm.
martial artist, Shelley. I have friends that have also fought MMA, and it, a lot of these guys are under 6 feet. But if they take you out in the town, they're going to keep you safe. Height doesn't really matter so much. Um,
Yeah.
so, what advice would you give to people that are short?
Hey, if they care about your height, then they're not the one for you. But I'm saying like height is not something physical, but your presence is. How well do you carry
Mm,
yourself? Some people who are short kings, they have good energy, good presence. They have bigger personality than the people who are tall.
Mhm.
And funny thing is, I had I had more success stories from guys that I've coached who are short than guys who are
Really?
tall. Yeah. Because it's not about the height at the end of the day. It's about the energy. And you're
Mm.
right. If a short king, let's say, can defend themselves, then the tall guy, then already have that physique and energy. Then that's already what
Mhm.
they're bringing to the table. And honestly, like focus on what you already have and can control rather than what you don't have. Because if they keep focusing on the fact that they're short and they're small, that's also the energy that they're going to bring. And that's if you continue to fixate on that, women can feel that too, and they're not going to feel comfortable with you. You're already short, plus you have a small personality. That's not a good combo.
Mm. Yeah. So how do you create this energy that you're describing? Like how does a guy cultivate that over years of practice and to be able to have that vibe that women look for?
Yeah, it starts with basically your self-esteem and starting to
Mhm.
focus on the things you can control. Like make a column, like things I can control and things I can't control. Can't control is height, unless you get a knee surgery or something. I don't know if that's still possible right now,
Mm.
but you can't control that. So what can you control? As you said a while ago, learning new things, my build and my physique, my diet, my mindset, how I see myself. And if you continue focusing on the things that you can control and hyping yourself up and cultivating that, that's the energy that you're going to start bringing. Like, it's the same, it's like imagine a tall guy, really hot, 10 out of 10, right? But he's like this. Hi, versus
Mm.
a guy who's like, let's say 5'7", 5'6", but he's very like he has a good posture, chest out, chin up. It's like, yeah, hi, what's up, right? Who would you feel more
Yeah.
comfortable with?
Yeah.
That already establishes the safety there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's so true. It's energy, isn't it? It's that
Uh-huh.
vibe and it's just reps, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
What about men in their 20s? A lot of guys are and especially too, I can remember when I was in my 20s, I just remember a surge of testosterone even into my late teens. I just remember um, yeah, it was like, holy shit, what the hell is going on? A lot of men do have this surge of testosterone. Should a man also be focusing on his grind as opposed to women, or is there a place where he can focus on a bit of both? Because the goal, I think, is to use your 20s as a training ground.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you get to 30, you're going to have a stable job. You're going to have, I guess, your finances in order. You're going to have some wisdom. But then also, you need to put yourself out there as well, Shelley. You can't
Yep.
really understand female nature or learn about relationships unless you put yourself out there. So, what advice would you give to, say, a dude that's in his early 20s that is interested in dating, but then also he's, working on his grind?
Find the balance.
Mm,
There's always a balance in it. You have the choice where you put and dedicate your energy to. If you don't know what that looks like, then sit down with yourself, make a list on what gives you energy and what doesn't give you energy. And if, like, let's say they could always attend social events that is related to what they're doing, right? Let's say if they're on the grind of doing their own business, probably a networking event or like somewhere where other people who have the similar mindset as him can gather. And that's where he could also practice like his social skills and learning how to build the reps in. Or again, the more you fuck around, the more you find out. Explore, have fun. This is the time where you don't have to take life seriously, you know?
mm.
The more mistakes you make, the more lessons you learn. So, and the more stories you can tell. So, have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right too. It's applied, isn't it? You have to apply it and you have to put yourself out there and think of the world as like your training ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a training ground. It's like I kind of base it like if you go to the gym, you exercise your muscles, they
Yep,
heal,
yep.
they get stronger.
Mhm.
It's the same thing as whether it be knowledge, but then also the art of courting and dating. It's an art, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is. It
What about
is.
flirting? Flirting is a difficult one too, because I think that's an art
It
itself.
is. There's an art of flirting.
Do you teach guys how to flirt? Because that's scary. You're like, shit,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
you can fuck it up.
Yeah, yeah, with
Mm,
flirting, and this is why having a good self-image and self-esteem is important, because you're not going to be able to flirt if you have a low self-esteem, if you're always doubting yourself. Flirting happens when you have when you trust yourself and you're confident, because this involves a lot of like the timing, the anticipation, also the touch that involves flirting too, reading other people's cues. And if you cannot like trust yourself to read those, and if you don't put yourself in places where there are opportunities to do that, then you're not going to learn it. And so, you know how like a lot of people they do approach me saying, "I know what to do. It's just I'm having a hard time doing it." And this is where the mindset comes to play. This is where
mm,
you have to, and a lot of times a lot of the dating tips don't work. It's because like they're not in the right mindset to apply it. So this is why mindset is so important when you are going out there and applying what you have learned. The
yeah.
dating advice and the flirting advice.
Yeah. And what's the success rate that you've had with a lot of your clients? You mentioned that you've worked with some short kings,
Yeah.
and what have you come to learn about how your clients gain their result or get their results? Like, what's how has that been?
It's been really good. Like I've been getting a lot of my clients saying that they have been successfully dating. I had one client ghost me because he got a girlfriend and he just stopped talking to me. I'm like, "How are you doing? How are you doing?" He never responded because he was happy already.
Mm,
And a lot of the times, a lot of my clients are here for like the mindset training so that they can get better mindset accountability when they are putting themselves out there. All I'm waiting is for at least one of them to get married. I said, "Invite
yeah,
me, please." That's what I'm waiting for. Like that's one
yeah.
of my biggest like bucket list goal.
You're like a female Hitch.
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what they told me. But then like Hitch also has his own problems too.
Mm,
Like if you notice like in the movie Hitch, like at the point where I think he was coaching like the guy, a lawyer guy or something. I forgot
yeah, yeah,
the dude.
yeah.
Everything that he's telling the guy, he wasn't doing it, but he was getting success in attracting the girl.
That's right. That's
And,
right. Yeah.
and it's so funny because I really like the idea of like really being authentic with yourself will attract the right people for you.
Mm.
And that involves
Yeah,
knowing
that's true.
yourself.
I know
Yeah.
the part that you're talking about. There's a scene where he spills mustard on his jacket,
Yeah.
and the character that Kevin James plays in the
Mhm.
movie, yeah, he's kind of clumsy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also the woman that he's trying to court, she's a little bit like that too. She's a bit
Yeah.
clumsy, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's really true. You made a very good, valid point, Shelley, is being yourself, being authentic and open. But here's the problem too, Shelley. A lot of people say, like our parents used to say, just be yourself. Um, Sometimes that doesn't work. Is it because of the type of people that we're selecting for a potential partner? Is that what you think it is?
Yeah, and also like here's the thing. There's a difference between being yourself and being authentic. Because what is the
Mm,
definition of being yourself anyway? Sometimes people interpret it as like, oh, I should stay the same. I shouldn't do anything. I should just be like this, right? As opposed to being authentic. Being authentic means, what do I want to become? What
uh,
do I want to grow into? What dreams and desires do I want to pursue? The truth, right? Like
yeah.
living in your truth versus staying stagnant. Because a lot of times people say, oh, you just have to be yourself, but then that means that you don't have to change anything right now,
Mm,
right?
yeah. I think like, yeah, don't be a slob. Have a shower. Um, just simple
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, take care of yourself. And also if you want to do something for yourself and that's where you really want to go, follow that. A lot of the times, if you're really living your authentic life, and I love Mark Manson for this because he also said this in his book. You are following through what you want for yourself. Like even as simple as the job that you're doing. Are you doing it because it's something that you want to do, or are you doing it because you just want the money? And it also starts reflecting on how you start living your life, right? If you're doing something that you don't like, then you start showing up in life differently. Like
You
the
do.
the energy that you show to different people, the vibes, how it's like you're always grumpy and like, people are so annoying because you're doing something that you don't like. As opposed to like,
Yeah.
okay, if you're in an environment where you feel like you're growing and thriving, it inspires you, it motivates you, and then you show up in like either your social life, dating, and like a more better perspective, a more brighter spirits, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Going back to hypergamy, Shelley,
Mm-hmm.
and women tend to their dating preferences is they date socioeconomically, horizontally across and up. Men date horizontally and down. Like we're
Yeah.
not too fixated on what a woman does for a career. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great for them, but I mean, me personally, I'll date a girl that works at McDonald's. It doesn't phase me one bit. As long as she's a nice person, she's kind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll date a girl that doesn't have a lot of money. But women kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit because there's just not enough of these men to go around. I mean, women aren't going to date down. How do we combat the hypergamy thing? How do we, because women are doing so damn well, they're doing extremely well. How do we get couples together? And why does finances always have to be a problem? Like, yes, I understand finance is important because we need them to survive in the world. I think it's just be getting a little bit too out of hand. So what do you
Yeah.
think we can do as far as the hypergamy thing and without slowing the brakes on women and then also maybe perhaps helping men and raising them up? What can we do as a society to help with that?
No, again, it's lowering women's standards. Like
Lowering the
it's
expectations.
not standards,
Yeah.
but expectations. Like I don't encourage them to settle, but I encourage them to be more open, right? Because if they're not open, they're not going to meet the person for them, and there's a lot of men who are actually great for
Mm.
them and they're missing that opportunity. At the same time, yes, I do agree. It's because like you know how like back in the old days, I guess like status and status your status basically defines how the safety that you're gonna give the
Mm.
woman, right? Because if
That's right.
you're on top of the pack, like I know I'm gonna be safe and I'm gonna be away from threats. I think that's why women find the providing and the finance is so important up until now this time. But it's getting out of hand because it's social media is like, oh, you need a guy who does this, and I have a boyfriend who gives me all this chocolates and flowers and designer's clothes. It's just like setting unrealistic expectation, and this is
Yeah.
why sometimes we just have to step out and touch grass and really just get to know people for who they are and open
Yeah.
ourselves up for genuine connections.
Yeah, because it's frustrating and it puts an awful lot of burden and responsibility on a man
Yeah.
to be able to and I get it. I understand totally why women are attracted to a man that has the potential or if not already has resources and money is because women have to think about, okay, if I share my body with a man and I become pregnant, I'm not going to be able to work. I totally
Mm-hmm.
get that. But I think too there has to be, I think, a level of understanding that. I mean, how much does it cost to raise a kid? I mean, if you're buying luxury items and spending a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, do you think also that has a play too? Like people do have these unrealistic expectations of what they want in a partner, but they're not measurable.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. That's true. And if you are, and also check in with yourself too and look at yourself like all are the things that I want from a guy, am I able to also do this for myself? Because
Mm.
sometimes what we're looking for in another person we don't have, right? And so if that is something that you feel like you still don't have, this goes for both men and women because I've seen a lot of men to having such unrealistic standards when it comes to women,
Yeah.
especially the body physique. Like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
like slow down, sir. But anyway, if they're not in a place where like the question is like, am I living the life that I want where I can meet these types of people? Am I doing the things that I have to do for myself in order to become closer to these kinds of people? Like, let's say you have an ideal worksheet for either the type of person that you want. Like, let's say you want somebody who's a general example, a kind person, communicative, blah, 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 like emotionally mature. Ask yourself, are you also kind? Do you know how to communicate? Are you
Yeah.
also emotionally mature? So that's something that you have to work on. Or like for example, like if let's say I want somebody who's rich, daddy daddy da. Am I putting myself in these places where I could meet these kinds of people? Right? It's usually
Mm.
their lifestyle that defines again the demographic that they're gonna meet, the type of people that they're gonna meet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Shelley, what do people need to do, or guys that want to book in with you? Where do they find you? How does it work? Like, what are the services that you offer?
Yeah, so my main socials right now that I'm using is Instagram. So I'm at Shelley Badayos, SHELLEYBADAYOS. And I do have a website. It's go.coachingwithseashells.com/dating with confidence. Um I would message them if they're interested and tell and ask more about what's going on. And then I have two programs that I do. I have a group coaching offer, and then I also have one-on-one coaching offers, which will work around like their mindset, getting clear on what they want when it comes to dating and the techniques on dating so that they could
Mm.
have a better dating life.
Yeah. What are some of the techniques? Can you share a couple?
Yeah, so one of the things that I do teach is I don't know if you're familiar with attachment style because that's what I base mostly off
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
we didn't touch on
yeah,
attachment styles. That's really
love
big. Yeah. Can
yeah,
you go
so
into a little bit of that?
yeah,
Attachment styles?
basically TLDR, or in short, attachment style is how you received love as a kid and how now it's playing a part in your dating life as an adult. And
Mm.
there are four different types, but I mostly focus on the three types: secure, avoidant, and anxious. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because yeah, you're right. Your childhood and how you were loved or cared for has a huge influence in how you sort of navigate dating, isn't it? And
yeah,
relationships.
yep,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
that's a hard one. Yeah.
yeah,
So much to do, isn't there? So much work. And you have to do the work, don't you? You have to do the groundwork. You have to figure out what your attachment style is. Why do I get this way? He hasn't replied back or she hasn't replied back. I'm anxious, I'm
yeah,
nervous. Did something happen? And these
yeah,
are all questions and things that a lot of people
yeah.
sort of think about, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we know now what we can work on in terms of like their mindset because we know now where they're coming from.
that's
And
right.
so basically we're trying to make space from the old clutter that they have or the old patterns that they have. We're trying to break it so we can make room for the new dating advice so that they could
Mm,
apply it better.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing, Shelley. Shelley, thank you so much for jumping on. I could talk to you for hours about this topic. Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
I think I just find this topic so interesting. I'm
Mhm.
currently writing a book on this.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. For the last couple of years now, I've been sort of doing a lot of research and study into this, and I've
Mhm.
been studying intersexual dynamics. I've been learning about evolutionary psychology. I've been learning about
Yeah.
attachment styles. I've been learning about the stats and the alarming stats in the rise of the men's mental health crisis
Mhm.
that's happening, and also now women are also having a bit of a crisis in their own.
Yes.
All this comes into play, and I think going back to what I was saying before, a lot of the big problems that we're seeing in the world today, I think need to start with the smaller problems and being able to get men and women back together as opposed to just drifting further and further apart. I think
Yeah.
just birth rates are declining, marriage is at an all-time low. You're seeing more and more childlessness in women and regretting their years, wasting it away when they should have been sort of focusing on family. You're seeing men going their own way. They're
Mhm.
retreating to porn, weed,
Yeah,
and video
yeah,
games.
yeah.
You know, that's a bit of a problem too, Shelley. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like dudes
Yeah. A
are
lot
not
of
even.
distractions. This is what I
Yeah,
mean. The distractions is
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, but it's a fascinating topic, but at the same time, it's kinda sad.
It
Makes me
is.
sad. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, thanks again, Shelley, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, Shelley.